everybody, welcome to Coco's Crochet. I'm Litza and today is the 1980s edition of our hashtag Crochet Through the Decades Cal 2024. Now sadly this is the last month for this Cal, but I'm so happy to present so many wonderful makes to you, and I just want to thank you all for joining in, whether you've been here cheerleading us along or you've been contributing by sending in your makes. I just want to thank you all. It has been a blast, and how wonderful that we're ending it on the 1980s. Now for me, that is my favorite decade. I've written down that that's the year that I finished high school, and I've got a lot of little props to show you along the way. I went overseas, I got married, and a few other amazing milestones of my life. Some of you may not have even been born yet, but it was a wonderful, wonderful decade. And even to this very day, I'll be surprised if many of the young ones don't actually listen to some of the music back from the day. It was just amazing. Now, sometimes I can't believe when I think of a decade gone by like the 80s that it was like 40 years ago, which is crazy to me because it was only like a heartbeat away. I still feel that like I'm there sometimes, and it's just great that we get to share this, time together to reminisce. Now, any of you that have just joined us, it is a little bit late to join in with your projects, but it's not too late to vote, because today I'm going to show you all 13 projects that have been sent in to us, so 13 makes that you get to choose from. So basically what this Cal has been along the way is we have had the opportunity for each month, starting back in August with the 1950s, September was the 60s, October was the 70s, and November was the 80s. And now we've come to the day where I've collated all of the entries that have been sent in to us, and we get the opportunity to vote. Now it is like, like you don't know whose project is who, which number, but you get to vote on your favorite number. That way, there's no bias attached to the make, and I'll come back in a few days. So today is the 6th of December 2024. Voting will close on the 10th of December 2024, which is next Tuesday, midnight Sydney, Australia time. And then in a few days after that, I'll come back to show you who made what, marry up the make with the number and the name, let you know who the winner was for the 1980s, and then I'll come back a couple of days after that and give you the overall winners. Now, what does that mean? It means that in this jar, every single person that has put an entry in, and we're going to include the 1980s, has an entry and an opportunity to win a year's subscription or 12 months to a digital crochet magazine. And in this little jar here, there are names of the winners for each decade. Now, if you want to go and watch the playlist for this Cal, please go and do so. There are some amazing makes in there in case you want to revisit or see them for the very first time. So let's just talk a little bit about the 80s, because as I said, it is my favorite decade. I've got a few little props here, and we'll talk about the vintage crochet book as well before I show you everybody's makes. So please indulge me for a few moments, because I could actually talk about the 80s for hours and hours and hours, but I'm going to keep it down to just a few minutes, so don't run away. Okay, so in the 80s, I finished high school. I've actually got my t-shirt here to show you. I went to Balmain High, and I finished high school, which is year 12 or 18 years old, in the class of 1983, guys. I cannot believe that. It feels like a lifetime ago, and yet here is my very, very gorgeous little t-shirt that we were able to take away as a souvenir. On the back is everybody's name that graduated from that class, and I was in a huge class. My high school was very, very big. It was one of the newest high schools in Sydney at the time, and I think by the time I had finished school there was around 1,500 students. Now for Sydney, that's pretty big, and my graduating class was around, I think, maybe 120 students. I could be wrong because it was a very long time ago and I did not count the names on the back. So yes, 1983 is the year that I graduated high school, and what a fun time we had. So I was just over 18 years old. Oh my goodness. Now that does sound like a long time ago. It's also the first year that I went overseas. I hadn't traveled very much in Australia either, but it was the first time. Not only did I go overseas, I was 16 in 1981, but I also went without my parents. So imagine how grown up I felt. And when I went away, I went with a group of, I think it was about 65 students from all over Australia. And we got to visit Greece, to visit our heritage, our culture, on a tour all together, and for 3 weeks. And then we had the opportunity to visit with our family, which was wonderful because my grandparents had moved back to Greece, my mum's mum and dad. So I had got to see the village she grew up in and the house. And while we were there with the other students or the other, young people, I made a beautiful group of friends, and we all bought this jumper. I think it was in Crete. I think that's the Minotaur, if I'm right or wrong. And look at this. It might be one of the ugliest jumpers in the world, but I absolutely love it. And we all had one of these. There were 6 of us in the group. We took photos together, and I have such beautiful fond memories when I look at this jumper. And one of the girls that I traveled with, we've become lifelong friends. It's actually my goddaughter's mother. So how awesome is that, guys? So I was 16 at the time, and forming a relationship and relationships like that lasted a very long time. And hopefully this very one will be forever. So that was when I went overseas for the first time in the 80s, which was wonderful. Now, I also went to many concerts, and I have some t-shirts to show you in a moment. I learned how to drive in the 80s. I think I was about 19, so I was a bit of a late bloomer. Both my children, actually, and my stepson, they learned to drive at 17. As soon as they could get their L's, they did, whereas I sat back for a little while, enjoyed being driven, and then I learned how to drive at 19, and I've been driving ever since, What do we used to call it? Mum's taxi back in the day. I think now it's Mum's Uber. So, that was exciting, learning how to drive. And again, in the 80s. And then the other thing that I did do was get married in the 80s for the first time. But that's a story for another day. So that was very exciting, the whole, meeting boys or young men, being courted, going out, and then eventually getting engaged and married. So that all happened in the 80s for me, which was pretty awesome. It was a very, very busy decade. Now, a lot of the influences, or some of the influences in the 80s were colour. And these colours, guys, depict the 80s perfectly. And I absolutely loved the brights, the neons. It was just an amazing time. There were geometric shapes as well. But the colour was spectacular. But also we did team it up, of course, with black and white. Always, that's the case. But they're colours that scream 80s, right? Absolutely love them. And then the fashion. Now, anyone that was around in the 80s would remember, if you've seen any sitcoms or any movies from the 80s, everything was big. Big shoulder pads. The bigger the shoulder pad, the cooler you were. Big hair. I still remember, everything was just huge, bigger than life. I don't know if it's because of the age I was or the era that we were in, but everything just felt big. The other thing that we had fashion-wise, and I'm sure a lot of you would remember these two, were leg warmers. So basically the aerobic phenomenon, so in the gyms, had hit everywhere. So we were wearing the high-cut leotards, the leg warmers, which I've still got some because I have a daughter who danced from the age of 3 till 25. So she got to use some of my leg warmers, and also along the way we may have purchased some more. So there were leg warmers. I've actually got a photo here. This is exactly what we look like, guys. And the sweatbands on our heads and our wrists. And there's all the other coloured clothes and the big hair and the big shoulder pads. Absolutely love that. But let me show you the leg warmers. Now, some of you might not know what a leg warmer is. Basically, it's a tube. Look, you can put it on your arm. Maybe my leg was that size back then. I don't think so. So basically, you would wear this exactly like that. So over your shoes and up to your ankles or mid-calf. So there was this version here, which was just a tube. And then there was this version here, which actually went around your shoe at the bottom. Pretty cool, right? And then, of course, I had to have a purple one in the mix. So there's the purple. And there was even these really big chunky ones that you could actually wear over your tights and wear them out. So everything was knitted back then, and it's all very much acrylic, and I absolutely loved them, and they were very, very fashionable, so of course we had to have them. Now, anyone that was around back then like I was, and I know somewhere in this house, I think in the attic storage area, I have a video from Jane Fonda, which was you know, she was the guru of aerobics. It was amazing, and the mantra was no gain, no pain, no gain. I wonder how many of you remember that, because I certainly do. And then what else did we have? The music. So the music of the time is phenomenal. Like I said, my children still listen to the music, and it was also a period of my life that I actually got to go to see some bands live rather than just listening to them on my cassette deck on the radio. So we would have a radio, which I wish I had something to show you, but I don't. So you listen to the radio, and then those of you that remember cassettes, I don't actually have any, you would have a cassette deck and you would press play and record at the same time, and you got to record the song so you could make your own playlist as such. It was just amazing. Awesome, awesome memories, guys. So if you remember doing that as well, let us know down in the comments. Anyway, I digress. So this was a time for me in the 80s that I got to experience going to my first concerts, and it was amazing. So most of you will know Madonna. Back then she was huge, and this t-shirt is so old, guys, but this was from her, like, you know, her different shows. This was probably at a later date, I must say, but Madonna was huge in the 80s, and let me tell you, we all wanted to be Madonna. We all wanted to dress like her, the big earrings, the big jewelry, the big hair, all the net stuff that she used to wear. She was probably one of the original ones that wore, you know, the net tops over the tank tops, and that was pretty cool. And then some other bands that I went to see, like, were the Simple Minds. Here's a very old t-shirt. I bought these out because I found them in my wardrobe and I just couldn't resist, guys. So a little bit of fun along the way. And then, you know, there was also Duran Duran. Who else? Devo was one of the concerts I went to back very early in the 80s, I think 81, 82. They were an amazing band as well. Boy George, and I could go on and on forever. My taste in music has always been very varied. I don't just listen to one type of music, and that's what I love, that the 80s did offer you a lot of that. There was, like, you know, Spandau Ballet, and, you know, they were like Duran Duran. I forget, what were they called? The New Romantics. Anyway, just amazing. I could go on and on and on for hours. Maybe you'd like to tell us in the comments who your favorite 80s artist was, you know, singer or band, which would be amazing. And then we come into the toys, guys. Now, I have a special t-shirt that goes with the toys. Now, these were the most popular toys that I can think of. There were Care Bears, Rubik's Cube, and the Ninja Turtles were everywhere. So they were in toys, cartoons, movies, and everything else. Did I show you that enough? Sometimes I do rush. I am very, very sorry. Now, in the back here, I'll show you my Care Bear. I never had a real life Care Bear, but let me tell you, Care Bears, and I have written down, did I write down the bit of trivia? Because it just amazed me. Now, Care Bears, I think, sold something like, oh my goodness, 4 million Care Bears, or 40 million Care Bears from the year 1983 to 1987, or something like that. I just thought that was a phenomenal, here it is. No, I haven't got it, but it was just a phenomenal statistic, I thought. Now, I don't have one of my own, but I did crochet my own version not long ago, so I will show it to you. But they were actually gorgeous, and I do envy anybody that actually had one. And I love that they all had different colors, different stories, and I think even different jobs at the time. And then the other thing that was very, very popular was, I don't have my original Rubik's Cube. I've got a feeling, again, it's somewhere in the attic space, but I didn't have time to go into the storeroom area. But this was the Rubik's Cube. This is a toy that my children had, and it's got like a buzzer. You press buttons and I don't know what it does. Does it light up? No, because I don't think it works anymore. But my kids rip the stickers off, but that's okay. But this is what it looked like, guys. But you could actually move it around. I think that most of us would be familiar with a Rubik's Cube. Now, the Rubik's Cube came about in 1981, and that's the year I was 16, so I was in year 10, and it was designed by, I think he was a Hungarian architect, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But I think we'll come across that information a little bit later when I show you some makes. Now, what the Rubik's Cube, what the story that I have to go with it is, back when I was 16, there was a competition running locally. I think a radio station had put it on, and if you could make at least one side, you had the opportunity to win a ticket to go to Dubbo Zoo. So I quickly did my side, then I quickly did my best friend's Melanie's one side of, so one face of the Rubik's Cube, and we both won a trip to Dubbo Zoo. Now here's the t-shirt from Dubbo Zoo, and I have kept it all these years. Now this is a very, very special zoo. It is about, I think it was a 6-hour bus drive from my home. Again, you know, my parents and Melanie's parents said it's okay for us to go, which was great, and we spent a wonderful day there. I think I have about 2 or 3 photos from the day, but I wasn't able to retrieve them for today because I didn't want to waste too much time. So that was another fun thing, you know, for the 80s for me, experiencing some fun with one of our favorite toys. So I thought I would definitely share that with you. And then some of our favorite shows, and then I'm nearly done. I'll get to the crochet because I know I'm going on and on today, but I just can't help myself, guys. So the movies, I could have bought up all my DVDs. I am a huge DVD collector, and I have a whole wall downstairs. The racks are all from IKEA, sorry, the like little bookshelves, but that's another story too. So I'm going to show you some movies, and I wonder how much you love them. I just pulled out a few from the 80s, and like I said, I could have gone on forever. Who doesn't love this movie, Turner and Hooch? Absolutely love it. My kids also enjoyed watching it. This is a classic, iconic movie, The Goonies. Absolutely love it. What about the whole Die Hard series? You can tell this has been loved. John McClane, he's amazing. And then who doesn't love Uncle Buck? That giant pancake when he was flipping it. I absolutely love that scene. And I absolutely love, as we all know, the Golden Girls, excuse me, and that's when the series began in the 80s. And then another fun one that I started watching and then continued with my children was Full House. And now I think they have a series called Fuller House. And of course, as we said, the Ninja Turtles were everywhere. So you weren't cool unless you had a Ninja Turtle t-shirt. So that is my little wrap up of the 1980s, how excited I was to be there, to live through it, to reminisce about it, and thank you for indulging me and allowing me to do so, because I know that I've gone on, but I just had to share my joy that I was part of that decade. So now I'm going to talk to you about what I actually made for the 1980s. Now, I used to have a duffel bag when I was growing up. And what's a duffel bag, you ask me? Well, it was the bag. It was made out of like a canvas, and that was actually my school bag at the time. And I think from memory it was black, not grey. I think it was black. And this is what they look like. So I crocheted a duffel bag, guys. Look at the colours, right? Now they are definitely 80s colours, and there is a giant zipper. Now I have stuffed it with yarn, but let me just open up the zipper. I just wanted to make sure that it looked very nice. So this is my make for the 1980s. I absolutely love making this. I'm going to use this as a project bag because it does fit 4 skeins of yarn in here, 4 100-gram balls, and you know, I think it's going to be amazing just to have because it's very, very compact. I love the zipper. I actually sewed it on. I didn't crochet it on, and look at the colors, guys. It is a bit fluffy, but that's okay. So there's an orange and like a tangerine, the purple, the bright pink, and the blue. So these are all the yarns here that I used. Excuse me. I do have a bit of a froggy throat. So they're all the different yarns, which I thought were perfect. There you go there. So they were perfect. I actually bought these with the 80s project in mind about, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 ago when our local little $2 store was closing down. And when I saw these, I thought they were brilliant, and I had bought a couple previously, and they were only about $2 a ball. They're 100% acrylic, the yarn that I used. They don't actually have proper colors or anything, just some numbers. And I did use a 6.5mm hook. I double stranded all the yarn, and the pattern that I used is on the Hobie website. It's called the Jolly Duffel Bag. Excuse me, and there it is there. Now they do use ribbon yarn, but as I said, I just used the 8-ply acrylic or the 3 weight, I think it is, or DK weight acrylic, but double stranded it. And this is all half double crochet US terms, and the handle is one piece, so you make like a circle, and it's all single crochet, so it is quite sturdy. And I don't think the handles are going to stretch too much because they're not very long at all, and it is double strands. So that's it, guys. That was my project. Whew, that was a mouthful. Thank you for hanging around so long, because now it's time to showcase your makes. So what you guys need to do, very, very importantly, oh, one more thing. In this book here, we've been looking at this every single month, so I thought I'd best get it out for the last time. This is a beautiful, beautiful book, but it does concrete the fact that we all know that from the 80s, so after the late 70s, early 80s, crochet was not really popular anymore. So it just started to die down. People were still making blankets and doilies, but what we did see was the kuwai trend starting, which started in Japan in the 70s and then really took off in the 80s. So as far as crochet in the 80s goes, it wasn't really a thing, which made me really sad, but I do remember that. It's not like, you know, it surprised me in any way. And then it, you know, has made a huge comeback since. Okay, so let's get ready. Have you got a pen? Have you got some paper? Have you got your phone? Any way you want to note your favorite project. Now they are numbered from 1 to 13. I know it's a very hard ask to ask you to just choose one, but please join in and play the game. It's just for fun. So let's get started. I'll make sure that I don't say anybody's name by mistake. So this very, very first one here is part of a blanket. And this is the granny stitch, which was a very popular stitch in the 80s. Beautiful colors, and the colors, the yarn is a lime brown mandala, and it's held double stranded. So that is number 1, guys. It's absolutely beautiful. Love that so much. The granny stitch has never ever gone out of style. Isn't that right, guys? And then this one comes to us. So number 2 is a dishcloth. Inspiration was the hot pink from the clothing trends, and the light pink was a popular bathroom color scheme. Now there is a bobble design in there of a teacup, but the stitches get lost in the color, guys. But you can kind of see that it's 3D in places. So imagine there's a saucer and a cup there and a handle. But absolutely gorgeous color, and yes, very much the 80s. Now the next one here, so number 3. Now, the inspiration is the colours from the 1980s, the neon hot pink, yellow and teal. This is the two-star twist hot pad, and it is from an 80s pattern booklet. So whoever interpreted that pattern, well done to you. And this person tells us that they had fun making it. So that was number 3. Now, the next one is very cute. So this one here, I've got 2 photos. So this one here shows, actually let me show you this side first, sorry. So this is number 4, and it's a fanny pack bag, and it's made out of I'll tell you what it's made out of. It's made out of Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn in neons, which is the 1980s inspired colors, and in the dark neon and the black as well. And I absolutely love that. Look at this. It is perfectly lined with that gorgeous, gorgeous printed material, which matches the 1980s perfectly. And it's a crossbody bag. So you can see that the person's body is here and they're wearing it across. So it is a beautiful, beautiful fanny pack or bag. We call it a bum bag here in Australia. And there it is, number 4. Now, number 5, oh my gosh, he's a gorgeous Care Bear. see that little outfit? So the little dress for the 40th anniversary Care Bear. So that's the original Care Bear, and this is the make for it, because of course the Care Bears were so big in the 80s. And look at this one. She's actually got the 40th anniversary little love heart on her foot. Let me show you again the front. So it is number 5. Did I hold that straight, guys? So number 5. And there she is there. And there were over 40 million Care Bears sold from 1983 to 1987. I knew there was a 4 in that number. So 40 million. That is amazing. In like 4 years. That's crazy. So that was number 5. Now number 6. Everybody knows who this is. E.T. So there's number 6. Oh my goodness. He is adorable. And look at the side view. And I'll show you the front again with the number. Let me show you up close so you can see all the detail. Look at that finger. Do you remember that finger? E.T. Go Home. So E.T. was released on June 11th, 1982. And it was directed by Steven Spielberg. So the story basically is, while visiting Earth, an alien, so E.T., an extraterrestrial, is accidentally left behind, striking up a friendship with a young boy, Elliot. And then Elliot, E.T. and Elliot's friends have so many adventures, and then eventually they help E.T. go home, because that was his only wish. So that's number 6, E.T. Now number 7 is another little cute, adorable creature, and this is Gromit the dog from the cartoon Wallace and Gromit. Look how adorable he is, playing amongst the autumn leaves. And then we have, oh my gosh, okay. I remember being in arcades and playing a lot of Pac-Man, Galaxica, and Space Invaders. But this is Pac-Man and his ghosts. So this is number 8. Absolutely love this. Look at the colors, and look, he's ready to munch on them. So this was an arcade game which was released on the 22nd of May, 1980. Like I said, our generation loved that game. They're awesome colors, and can you see they've got felt eyes and little safety eyes in the middle. Absolutely love that. So that is number 8. And then number 9, the person who made this says, may I introduce Papa Smurf? So this is number 9. So let me show you Papa Smurf from the top of his hat all the way down to his feet. So I'll hold it here so you can see it's number 9. So this person says, the Smurfs first came on to TV on the 12th of September 1981, and the series ran until 1989, so almost the whole decade. Papa Smurf is the village chief. The show promotes positive messages, teamwork, and family togetherness. The pattern is a free pattern from a 2024 calendar from Simply Crochet magazine. I've actually got one, and I'll show it to you in the next episode. And the person who made Papa Smurf says that this was so much fun. So that was number 9. Now number 10 is a Rubik's Cube. And this was a very popular toy in the 80s, and the inventor was the Hungarian Erno Rubik. I knew I'd get his name out to you eventually. I love that. I wish I could see all the sides. I'm trying to imagine them. Absolutely gorgeous. So that's number 10. And then number 11, I'll show you Santa from there. He's number 11. So all the way from his head down to his feet. So let me pull him back a little bit so you can see him, and that is number 11. And now this is Santa from the film Santa Claus the Movie from 1985. The person who made this says it was their favorite movie as a child. The yarn that was used is Hobbycraft Women's Institute, and it's a free pattern from the Hobby website. How awesome is that, guys? So there's number 11, good old Santa Claus for this time of the year, perfect. And then we have number 12. the Ninja Turtles. Number 12 is sticking out there, guys, so please take note. Now, the Ninja Turtles obviously were so very, very popular. I love them all. And the person who made this says that her eldest son was obsessed with them so much. So, of course, she had to make them. I think I should make them for my son. He loves the Ninja Turtles too. And last but not least, we have a knitted entry, and this is a knitted cardigan, and it is number 13, and it's inspired by the colors of the 1980s, the pinks. Absolutely gorgeous. So that's it, guys. Now you have the hard task of actually choosing one. So good luck with that. I'm glad I don't have to vote. But I just love them all, and I just love how much fun we've had doing it. So remember, get your votes in as soon as you can, because Tuesday, the 10th of November, beg your pardon, December. Did I say November at the beginning of the video? So the 10th of December, midnight Sydney, Australia time, voting will be cut off, and I will come back, reveal the winner, and then pop everyone's names in the jars, and then get bigger jars because I need to shake them all around, and I will come back revealing the 2 winners. So we have a hard task ahead of us, guys, don't we? But a fun task at that. So thank you so very, very much for joining me today. Thank you so very, very much for indulging me at the very beginning to give you a little overview of what my life was like in the 80s. I really appreciated sharing that with you. So take care, and until I see you all very, very soon, keep taking care. That was a silly ending today, but take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.